Hello fiber friends! I thought today would be a good day for a Jillian Eve experiment type of video. I have these 3 balls of yarn, not yet, 3 balls of fiber. They are from Frivolous You, EWE of course, and they are Cheviot combed top. Each ball is 4 ounces and this colorway is called Velvet Moon. I got these at the Stevenson County Fiber Festival this past April. I wanted to take a look at how this type of fiber plays out color-wise if I have one that is, as we know, chain plied. If you've spun for more than 5 minutes, you'll know everybody says chain ply, keep the colors together. But what happens if it's a regular 3-ply with the same fiber? Like, we could compare how that looks, but then also, what about just a 2-ply? Does a 2-ply make it muddy, or is it pretty with that barber-poled kind of stripy effect? Or is it equivalent to the 3-ply and you can go either way? I don't know actually about some of these questions, so we will have to seek the answers together. I am going to spin them all the same diameter in the same way. I think that feels a little bit more like keeping it as a control and just accounting for the color combinations within the plies. I want to kind of unroll this a little bit and see how the colors play together throughout this ball of fiber. This probably should go into some sort of basket. Some people would call this pencil roving. It kind of looks more like a ribbon because it's a little bit flat, but it's just a different type of form of fiber for spinning. The sections of color are pretty uniform. They're all about this distance. I think that's a good distance for this experiment because it means that we aren't going to get huge sections that line up too much. We are going to get a lot of, even if they do kind of line up like this, and a 3-ply lining up would be pretty, but then I'm sure we'll get some sections that are gonna, you know, line up like this and have a more noticeable difference. So because these color sections are a little shorter, we are going to have a lot of color interaction in this spin, and I like that. I think it'll be fun. I found a container to stick it in, and it has a lid. We have a new kitten, so things are a little different around here. I know, kitten tax, you want to see her. I'll see if I can grab her. But things I'm working on get lids now. She's a fiber friend, but she's a curious fiber friend. Here's the kitten tax. I don't think she's going to stay with us very long. She has mischief and mayhem to accomplish. So I'm going to spin these all the same. And I will probably use my ladybug, my shacked ladybug, to spin these. It's a workhorse, and she's right there, and her bobbins are empty. So let's fix that. This is spinning lovely, but I think I want a faster spin. So I'm gonna unscrew the whirl from the back of my ladybug, and I'm going to switch it with the whirl that I have on here right now. I have 4 different diameters that I can put my drive wheel on. The drive wheel is the big wheel that goes around. If I have it on one of the smaller diameter grooves, I will get more twists every time I press the treadle, which means that I can spin faster because I get more twist at once. And there's different reasons why you might want more twist or less twist. That can be up to the spinner, but it also can depend on what type of yarn you want to make as well. So let's go a little faster here. Aha, it's better. Need to turn up the tension a little. All right. Yes, I like this better. I finished a bobbin full. It took me a minute to figure out how I wanted to draft this, but I did get it figured out, and I ended up with a point of contact draft, which is kind of a little bit of a hybrid kind of draft where I'm using the twist to pull the fibers from the fiber supply, but there's a long distance between my hands. And so it came out lovely. I like how it spun. I'm going to spin the other two balls of this fiber the same way. And then I was thinking about how I'm going to divide these out to ply these. And I think the easiest way to ply it is to do a chain ply straight off the bobbin I spun it onto. So let's start with the chain ply, and then I'll figure out the other two after that. The 3-ply off of 3 bobbins is going to be the most finicky to figure out, but we'll get there. I have another video specifically about chain plying if you want more of a tutorial on that. But for now, we're going to move straight into knitting a swatch. I don't want to do this by hand. I am going to use a circular hat knitting toy kind of machine, and that's going to work just fine. We'll get a nice sample out of each of these and see how the colors play together. The one that I'm going to do as a 2-ply, I'm going to put it in a ball winder, like a yarn cake type of a format. Now it's time to do the regular traditional from 3 bobbins, 3-ply, but I have 1 bobbin. So I've got to get this onto 3 bobbins, and I want it to be as equal as possible because I'd never love running out of 1 bobbin and having a whole lot on the other 2. And I'm like, man, that could have been more 3-ply, but now it's a bit of 2-ply. So I am going to do a little math, I guess, sort of. I have my scale and just a yarn bowl. Let me turn the camera so you can see, and I'll just show you what I'm doing, and we'll do it together. How about that? All right, let's turn this on. I'm switching it from ounces, which is what I usually have it on, to grams because it's a more accurate measurement. And I hit the tare button, which means it's not counting the weight of this. Actually, I forgot I need to also, okay, it's holding at 0. Now, when I put this one in there, since we've subtracted the weight of the bowl and the bobbin, I have 116 grams of yarn on this bobbin. I'm not going to worry that there's a liter under there. That's negligible. It'll be fine. Now, if I divide 116 by 3, what is 116 divided by 3? 38.6. Well, I just bumped it and now it changed to 110 grams. Let me redo this and make sure it's accurate. I think I probably need to switch the batteries in this scale, but we're gonna see if we can get away with it for now. All right, so we have 116. No, now it says 118. What? Okay, so 38 or 39. So 118 minus 38 is 80. So I am going to wind off of this until it gets down to 80. Here we go. It keeps going back to 102 grams, so I'm going to re-tare this. Okay, it says 0. Now it says 104. Well, I guess we'll keep going and see what 80 looks like. If I was actually going to weave with this, I would be stopping by now because you can't overload these or they won't fit in the shuttle. They'll rub and they won't spin freely. So I can overload this because I am going to use this like a bobbin on a lazy Kate. So I can dome it up as high as it'll stay, and that would be fine, which is the plan, essentially. Are you here to help? Yeah, it says the battery's low. I'm gonna change it. I'm worried that, oh no, it's a 9-volt. Do I even have a 9-volt? Where's the basket of batteries? Oh, I have Mad D batteries for my boombox, but I don't have a 9-volt. Double A, triple A, 3-volt. Goodness, everything but a 9-volt. I'm gonna have to get some 9-volt batteries. I sent one of my kids to the store to get me batteries, and they brought me lunch. I'm just gonna double check it all. Yeah, and it went right back there really fast. It didn't do that little fluctuating thing it was doing before, so it was definitely the battery. So I've got 84 grams of wool spun on this, and now I'm gonna tear this and see how much I have on the other bobbin. Okay, so that's zeroed out. This has 42. So what did I say was on the other? Did I say 84? Oh, we're doing okay. So that's it. We'll call it. All right. So now I'm gonna wind the next one until we get it down to 43-ish, 42, 43. And then I will wind whatever's left onto the last one and I'll be ready to do my 3-ply. I don't know if it's me, but this last one I did seems much fuller than the other ones. So I'm gonna weigh them and see. So the last one I did is 54 grams, 40 grams, 38 grams. Wow. It's possible that it's just time to get a new scale because that's wild. I'm gonna go ahead and spin those, and then whatever doesn't make it into the 3-ply, I've already done a 2-ply. So I'm gonna take the singles and I'm gonna just skein them. Wherever the ends are, I'll tie it together, not a big deal. And that way I'll have a little mini skein that will show me what the singles looked like before they were plied in all of the different configurations. And I think that will complete the range. This turned out to be better than I imagined. I learned so much and I want to share it with you. This is what I had left as a single, so now I can look at this and say this is what the yarn looked like before, and then each of the samples that I knit up has a tail, so then I can see that to see what the actual yarn for that bit looks like, but we need to compare them, so let me grab them real quick. This is the 2-ply. It is very long. Of course it is, because it has 2 strands, right? Instead of 3, which would shorten the whole thing. So this is the 2-ply. I'll put them all side by side in just a second, but I want to give you my initial thoughts. My initial thought on this one was that it took forever. And it was a lot of cranking. This is the chain ply, and this is the 3 bobbin ply. So the first thing I noticed with these two side by side is how the stripes are shorter in the chain ply, which makes sense because we've folded this yarn up on itself. So each color section gets shortened. And then on this one from the Bobbins, I didn't think it would come out quite so lined up. I have a theory that the reason it did this is because I was spinning and plying pencil roving, and that made it so the color sections overall would be shorter. If this was like a larger braid that had longer sections, like the wider like comb top is what I'm thinking of, or just larger color sections, it wouldn't have lined up this well, especially since I spun the whole thing and then plied 3 chunks together. So if it had larger color sections and then that was, you know, one of those at the start of the whole thing and a different kind of large color section in the middle or at the end, then it definitely would have had more of a marled look to it. Marling is where you get the one color that lines up with the other colors. We don't really have marling happening on the chain ply at all because it's all folded up on itself to keep the colors the same. But here we had some of the green overlapped into the yellow, and up here it almost looks like there's like a pixel that has the wrong color. It's just the little bits where the purple from one of the strands was going further into the blue as it was plying, and you know, the purple in one of the strands started sooner, so it is up here, but that's where we get some of that sort of marling. This is There we go. That's a good example of marling. That's some extreme marling. And then this is the purple and yellow. And then this is the purple and yellow again, but this is 2 strands of purple and 1 of yellow. And this is 2 strands of yellow and 1 of purple. So I mean, there's just so many things I'm noticing about all of this. Just the different colors in here. I really like how this looks. I like the way the stripes are. This is such an informative project, and I'm so glad I can share these results with all of you, because if any of you are going to knit a sweater out of your hand spun and you've got a braid and you're like, I don't know, do I need to do a 2 or a 3 or a chain ply? You know, this might help give you your vision. The 2-ply, I will say, also feels very different. You can tell it's a lighter fabric. This is thicker and squishier, and this is a little more drapey. So I also find that to be rather interesting. And there was something else about the 2-ply that I was going to mention. I did it from a center pull ball, and as I was putting all of the yarn into the center pull ball, it like flew off the thing. It was a big tangled mess. It happens to everyone. I want you all to know that stuff goes wrong for me too. It's just that I edit for time. I would love for you to put down in the comments something that you notice about these 3 samples of color interaction and color plying color play. What did you notice? I'm sure we're all going to have different things that stand out to us because there's so many things going on here, and I just really find it fascinating. All right, if you've stuck around this long, I'm going to give you a bit of an update about where I've been. I have been writing a book, and that is why I have been off of YouTube for a little bit. I've had so many people ask if I would write a book, and now I can say I did. It should be out next spring, and it's in the editing phase right now. We haven't done photography yet, so maybe this will end up in the photography. I don't know. So that's where I've been, and I am really looking forward to getting back to some more regular Jillian Eve uploads, and I want to redo some of the older tutorials that I have on my channel. Not that any of the information is like bad. It's not like spinning goes out of date. But I know that my editing style and audio and lighting and stuff has evolved over time, and so I like to keep some of that information that people really refer to a lot up to my current standard of, you know, production or whatever. So if you have a specific tutorial that you'd like me to redo, let me know. And I'm taking requests for new ones. I will also have some projects going on. We are just about to get into Tour de Fleece, which is June. We spin while the Tour de France cyclists spin. And I have a lot of spinning that I want to accomplish. I don't know if I'll get it all done, but I have some other exciting things coming up that you will not want to miss. So it's not only going to be tutorials, we'll have projects too, and a little history stuff all sprinkled in, as we do here on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed. I am so close to 100,000 subscribers on this channel, which just absolutely blows my mind. I remember freaking out when there were 100 people and I was like, oh my gosh, imagine there's 100 people in a room and I'm telling them about spinning. And like now I can't even, like, it breaks my brain if I try to think too hard. But it is an exciting milestone for YouTubers. So yeah, let's see if we can get there this year. That would be really amazing. So if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Happy spinning!